Hi, my name is Kam Franklin, and I sing for the Suffers. We're from Houston, Texas, and we're out in beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee for the Rhythm and Blues Music Festival. For our writing process, it can be done anywhere. Usually one of the guys will bring, some like bare bones idea that they've been working on, be it on an iPad, be it on a computer, whatever, guitar, and they'll bring it to the other 9 of us. And usually it's really, really, really simple sounding, but when you add 9 other different personalities and just minds to it, the most simple thing ends up becoming this, complex but beautiful piece of artwork at the end of it that ends up being a song. And it's really, really cool to go back after we've spent the last 2 or 3 years working on a song and to hear the original demo and just think, wow, this sounded like just the demo that you get off of a Yamaha keyboard or something. And yeah, no, it's really cool.
When I said that I moved on.
The oldest copy of a song that I've written is actually a song that the Suffers performed today. It's called Stay. And it's the very first song I ever completely wrote. And I think I wrote it when I was 15 or 16, and it was written for this boy that I was playing all these games with. And at the time I had just started getting guys to really notice me and flirt back with me, and it was just a really weird experience for me. But the very first line of the song is, I lied when I said that I moved on, because look here baby, you still headline all my songs, which at the time I wrote that because I wanted it to sound like I was more professional as a songwriter than I actually was, being that it was my first song. But it's funny because it took about 10 years for that song to actually become something that was really, really, usable for me. And now, it's this big orchestration, and it's really fun to see now.
'Cause look here, baby, you still headline.
Okay. The most obscure surface that I've ever written a song onto was on top of a pizza box. We had ordered in pizza because we were working on one song, and I had to rewrite another song, and nobody seemed to be able to find paper anywhere, and so I just ripped the top of the pizza box off and just started writing lyrics on top of that. But it's funny because even now, if we decide to write a set list that night, we'll still do the old pizza box or find an empty, soda or beer box and just write it in that. Recycling.
When I said that you weren't my first.
I think I'd like to sneak into the mind of Hayes Carl. I've done a few shows with him, and his fans are a bit crazy, but they're very passionate. And that's something that it's a audience that you don't really see in Americana music, to where they're extreme and very like, we're Hayes fans, ugh. It's just interesting, and he's just the most laid back, just chill person that you'll ever really meet. And I just kind of wonder where some of the sadness comes from, where some of the stories come from. I often wonder if they're his stories, if they're stories that he's heard. I know a lot of the songs that I write are stories that I've heard. I haven't gone through everything that I write about, but at the same time, I feel like he'd be a really cool person to kind of just shadow for a day. I've been getting that a lot recently. Songwriters that I absolutely just adore besides Hayes, Laura Marling out of London is someone that I've actually been following since I was in high school. She was the very first musician that I found on MySpace. I know a lot of the people watching this probably aren't on MySpace, and it probably doesn't have the same effect that it does now. But when I was about 16, I think she was 14 or 15, I looked up London on MySpace just to see other musicians and just kind of get a grasp for what other people were doing around the world. And she was the very first person on the London musician, like singer-songwriter thing. And I wrote her a message because she had a song called Mexico, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she's ever been there. And she wrote me back saying, no, I've never been there, but this is what I imagine it would be like. And as my career grew, I remember one day being at South by Southwest and seeing her name on there and thinking, oh my God, like she must have been really, really busy. This young girl from MySpace, and I go and her show's completely sold out. We're having to stand outside, and the songs hit me 2 times harder than they did when I heard her the first time, which is really, really cool. But besides her, local natives and Frank Ocean, I'm a big, big fan of any songwriter that writes about things that you think they're talking about one thing, but then when you actually listen to the song a little bit more, you do a little bit more insight into what it is they're actually writing about, you realize that it's about something completely different. And to me, like, that's such a beautiful thing about songwriting, is that, you know, you can lure people in with one topic, but when you actually get them connected and listening to whatever it is you're talking about, you can go anywhere with it. You can make it sad, you can make it funny, you can make it exciting or boring if you really want to do that. And that's the joy of it, is that you're in control, you're the artist, and no story is a bad story.